because I want to introduce this young man. I'm going to go back in a little bit of a history of some of the things he's really broadcast to us to bless us. He came out with one of his talks on October the 9th. He said, the land of familiarity will kill your business. Question is, have you leaders out there been taking notes on this man? He also said, would you like to change your address, number one, your income bracket, and your life? That was October the 9th. On October 23rd, he preached and taught to us, is your season changing and are you changing with it? My God, that was powerful. On October 30th, he talked about we have a habit of lack thinking. Which one are you? And he also came out with another one. He said, how do people define you when you're not around? That's powerful. Attitude is everything. That's another one. Let me tell you about this young man. You're about to hear from some of you may not have heard from him, but let me tell you something. He had one of the most #1 promotion in the history of our company. Martin Cerruto was #2, and I always talk about this. It's nothing new. Everybody knows how I feel about this. When anytime you go on stage and have co-founders are sitting off the edge of their seat, gasping every word he says, when you have Mr. Marvin Sapp sing at his promotion, senior vice president, next to him was his spiritual father, Mr. Les Brown. He's been to the Nectar Island with Richard Branson. He has been with the Who to Who. He's a 1%er, not a 5%er. He's a great father, community leader, mentor, thought leader. And I tell you what, he's one of several RVPs when I came over, spending some time with him in the Bahamas, myself and Mr. Lance Kelly Smith. I want to thank him for coming on our call today. He'll be with us every Friday in the month of February. And don't forget our happy hour tonight at 6 o'clock right back here. The great, the one and only, the incomparable, Mr. Byron Nelson. Let's give him a hand, everybody. Give him a hand. Mr. Nelson.
Yes, yes. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
I am still putting on my makeup, so I'll come on the screen in a minute. Hold on one second. How are you?
Man, I'm doing fine as frog hair, split 5 ways, and sandpaper. That's real fine.
I actually had the best sleep I've had in a year. I mean, that was just amazing. You know, you get one of those like deep alpha, beta, zeta sleeps, and you just excited. You just like, oh my God, is this what sleep feels like? Oh my God, I am so excited to be on this call with you, Mr. Al Thomas. And really, what I want to here, and this is gonna work. This is gonna kill 2 birds with 1 stone. First of all, you guys should all know who Mr. Al Thomas is, and if you don't, welcome to God's land. Okay, you might as well just go study Greek mythology to know who Mr. Al Thomas is. And what I mean by that, without embellishing and taking it to a level of it sounding facetious, is that I want you, the training that I'm giving you is 2 things. And that's number 1, charting your success. Charting your success. And whose radar are you on? And the whole concept of radar, of whose radar are you on, that really screams at me. And this is God's honest truth. I float through a lot of different worlds around on this planet. I really do. I get into a lot of different worlds. I'm one of those. I am that explorer who likes to explore, and it goes way beyond just our world of ACN, though everything in ACN is incorporated in every world I travel to. That being said, there's not 1 week of all the conversations I have from 6 to 7 to 8-figure players of the dealings that I deal with, not 1 week that outside of just the realm of ACN, but tied to ACN and beyond, that Mr. Al Thomas's name does not come up. That's a very powerful conversation. I want you to understand what I just said. And it's the God's honest truth. Out of nowhere, people say, you're Byron Nelson and you do this and you're an SVP in ACN and you built for 25. Do you know Mr. Al Thomas? Oh, so you do real estate and you're linked to, do you know Al Thomas? So it doesn't matter what I do or where I go. And it's just an association of, when you want to actually become, and I want you guys to get this, you want to be on, and I asked the question, whose radar are you on? Not who knows you, not you're an ETL, but I mean, see, when you first start in the business, it's easy to be on somebody's radar. But after your first 30 days, you get so caught up in your own life. And because you know Mr. Al Thomas, you think you're on his radar, but you aren't doing anything. So you're just somebody in which he's associated with. It's like, who are you checking in with until they check in with you? It's our responsibility as an upline for Julian and for any other leaders on here that's an RD and above to check in with their downline. But who do you check in with every week after your 30 days and you're giving them a progress report? See, that's the part we say we don't take our people for granted, but you do take your uplines for granted. Because you'll text and say, hi, or how you doing? Or I'll be on the call, or I'll miss the call, but you don't give a report on your life of what you're doing in the business. And because you don't, that's why your position is at the same position it's at. Because you aren't holding yourself accountable. You're holding your uplines accountable for maybe not giving you enough attention. But I can promise you, Mr. Al Thomas, when you got 1,000 people a month potentially coming into your business, why would I need to go looking for one child that's still at ETL? Why would I need to go look at one teenager that's at RD? I'm at home. I'm daddy. My name is Al Thomas. I'm at home. I already own the house. I've already built the neighborhood. I already own the village. I'm a senior vice president. But you stop checking in. So there's no real accountability here because I'm where you want to be. Therefore, you should be seeking me, Mr. Al Thomas, or any other vice president and above. There's no way. If I got 100 people and only one person is giving me a report on what they're doing weekly, that's the only person who I need to be giving attention to. Not the one who's on the call every week. Nod your head if this is making sense to some of you. See, just because you're on the call on Friday, or you're on my call on Monday, or you're on my call on Sunday, or on his call tonight at happy hour, we see you and we know you're alive and we love you. And that love has nothing to do with you getting on your charted course to your destination. You're stagnant because you have not committed to the course. You got 5 courses going on and you're nowhere. And it just makes, it's like, I'm still here. Still where? I hope this is hitting home with somebody. I want you guys to get this. And so I really wanted to get understanding how valuable and why I participate in this call with Mr. Al Thomas. Really, it doesn't matter. It's like I was doing a wealth conversation recently. And I was saying, money, I just did a post. I don't know if I did a post or a call. I don't know what the hell I know. I did it in the feed. And I said, it doesn't matter. Money is relative. $100,000, $100,000 a day, $100,000 a year. That's all relative. But why are we living small? You know you aren't maxing out your human potential. You know you are not big. You get to a certain level and you're okay, whether it's a defeated mindset or a successful mindset, whether it's arrogance or humility, whether it's I'm scared of being seen, or it's that, everybody should know who I am. I don't know what it is that has you in this state. But you need to stop living small. This year is going to go by really fast. We're already deep into February. It seems like it's not. The 5th doesn't seem like deep, but there's only 28 days in this month. You're at March. Why did you bring 2020 into 2021 and think your life was going to be different? You have a residual effect. You're optimistic. You're excited. It's a new year. But you brought all your friends, all your habits, all your baggage. I call your habits your friends. You brought all the same ones from 2020 into 21. And that's why your circumstances haven't changed. You thought they can't see you. See, your friends are alive. Your habits are alive. You put them in the closet thinking it's a new year. And they're creeping out in the middle of the night.
I'm sorry.
It's all good.
Let me mute my phone. I'm sorry.
They're finding you. Your same mentality is finding you. You haven't done an attitudinal adjustment. You need that new chiropractor. It's called an attitudinal adjustment. You need to completely reset. So I want to share something here in understanding How you need to get, I want to make sure I know I'm saying a lot and I'm talking, I'm going to keep repeating it till it hits home. You need to get on somebody's radar. Somebody needs to be paying attention to you too. The reason why I use the example of me hearing Mr. Al Thomas's name every week for the last year in some world is because you need to be on somebody's radar until somebody is looking to be on your radar. You need to be on somebody's radar until you are the radar. That would better be said. I'll say that again. You need to get on somebody's radar where you are just you're bothering them every week. Oh my God, okay. Oh my God, okay. Friday. I mean, think about it. See, that's the whole thing of an entrepreneur. That's the whole thing of a serial entrepreneur. Being on Greg Provenzano's radar, being on Grant Cardone's radar, being on Al Thomas's radar. I was on Jim Rohn's radar. I was on Sir Richard Ranson's radar. I'm on Les Brown's radar. Whose radar are you on? Right now, I'm on Joyce Meyer's radar. Every week, she gets a letter. No, I'm booked in. I can't do it. And it's this, this, and this. My first major speaking engagement in if this thing ever lifts is already booked with Michelle Obama, exclusively Byron Nelson and Michelle Obama. My book drops. She already has a #1 book. I've every week she already has my agent I already have the backing, the money, everything is already done. Whose radar are you on? Whose radar are you on? And it starts right here in ACN University. What SVP radar are you on? Not because they sponsored you, not because you're in their downline, not because what have you done in the last 2-3 weeks? I mean, you might as well be lost in Jurassic Park. It's like, we know you're alive, but we have no idea. There's no report in my email. Hey, I got 3 more customers this week. Hey, I talked to 15 people, but nobody got in. Hey, I talked to 25 and 3 people got in. Hey, I got a guy who came in and he's stagnant for the last 2 weeks. Hey, I got this person coming in and it's like they're ready to blow off and I don't know what to do with their list. I mean, whose radar are you on? That's the question. And ACN is such an amazing family that it doesn't have to be your upline. Hell, I want some of y'all to go bug Al Thomas. Leave me the hell alone. You ain't doing nothing in my organization. Go ahead and go bother him. He'll help you just because of my name. Some of y'all need to leave Al Thomas alone. Stop calling him and just saying hi and text him. Text me so I could beat your ass. Come find me. I have no problem cross-pollinating. Anybody that says Al Thomas' name knows they got love with me. You need to get out of the law of familiarity. It's called the land of familiarity. You need to move to a new demographic called the land of uncomfort zone. You need to get really uncomfortable. And you need to do it yesterday. Because if you don't do anything this month, you might as well not do anything until after June. Just take a break. I know leaders don't, great leaders don't, hold it, no, don't tell them take a break. No, take a freaking break. You ain't done shit yet. You haven't done anything. You might as well take off until June. Refresh your brain. Okay, go lie in the sun. Get out of the snow. Hey, go read a couple of books. That way you don't have to come up with any excuses. You got a reason. I took off until June. I got it, Bria. I'm coming on in time. So does that make sense? Everybody with me? Yes, yes. Just nod your head. That way you don't have to feel like you're getting beat up. You are validated. Look, I intentionally took 3-4 months off because I wasn't going to do nothing anyway. But if you're going to do something, then be accountable. So I want to share with you my because I'm really right now about balance between my fitness, my spirituality, and making sure my money is in. I want all of my points of life. I call them the 4 points of 4 tribunal stars, just on blast. So for those that are ready to chart your course, I want to share something that I wrote some time ago that really was part of my journal and part of a book that I helped with, and it's called How to Avoid Shipwreck. Now I'm going to get spiritual on you. So if you don't believe in Jesus, then take it as academic and act like you believe in Jesus. How about that? Call him whatever you want to. You're going to be an actor today. Okay. See, the Apostle Paul was a prisoner on board a ship. I don't know if you guys know who the Apostle Paul is. He was a prisoner on board a ship headed from Palestine to Rome. And after they ventured through the Mediterranean Sea and docked at the island of Crete, God told Paul to, and I love Paul because I'm always likened to Apostle Paul for everything I've ever done. People have always called me Apostle Paul for like the last 40 years. So a lot of my writings come from that, just so that you guys know. And they told Paul to advise the crew not to leave the harbor because there was going to be a great storm. But just like most of the people on our team, they wouldn't listen. And they ended up shipwrecked. Now I need you to understand, just like in your business, why. I want you to write down why. So the number one reason why people end up shipwrecked is called impatience. They had a schedule to keep. And the truth is, when we allow ourselves to become impatient, we often end up shipwrecked. More so, we end up in a storm. This one pastor talked to me. He said, I've spoken with many crisis-ridden people who were impatient to get married, to get a new job, to move to the other side of town. They didn't take time to check things out with God. And they sailed right into awaiting storms. See, instead of waiting for what I call your third eye, your sixth sense, God's choice of a mate, loneliness, critical decisions, all these things, right, can drive you into the arms of the wrong person. A lifetime of misery, making financial decisions without consulting God it can land you in debt so many times because you don't have a plan. You haven't charted your success here in ACN. And sometimes it takes years to get out, and then they blame ACN like, oh, I'm broke because, no, I've heard that before. I went in debt because ACN. No, you were broke before you came to ACN, you stupid butt. So you got to understand something. Sometimes when God says no, he doesn't mean never. He's simply saying not now. And what he has in store for us, for you, for each one of us is worth waiting for. Here's something you do not do well, but you need to keep in mind. God does a work of preparation within you to equip you for what he has in mind for you. His word says, he that believeth shall not make haste. Isaiah 28:16 rather. So you got to not be impatient and jump the gun. You got to take the time to prepare for what you're doing. And I need you to understand, I'm going to give you here so you fully understand two really strong points so you get this and things that I live by. Number one is don't take advice from the wrong people, even the so-called experts. But the officer in charge listened more to the ship's captain and the owner than to Paul. Chances are the ship's owner was an expert in business and its captain an expert in maritime matters. Nevertheless, both men were incapable of hearing the voice of God. See, you have a voice within you. You know when you aren't doing what you need to. You know when you are not doing the right things. You know when you're not giving 100%. You know when you're doing all these other things that are diverting your attention. You know when you're being distracted and you aren't listening. You know why you aren't where you need to be. This business only takes work ethic and sweat equity, concentration, and focus to get to the finish line. You got to understand this. Just because someone's successful in your field doesn't mean they're qualified to give you spiritual guidance. Honor those who are your leaders in the Lord's work and give your spiritual guidance. Show them great respect and wholeheartedly love because of their work. Number two, I said I had 2 points here. Remember that sometimes the majority gets it wrong. The majority gets it wrong. Remember sometimes that the majority gets it wrong. See, most of the crew wanted to go on the Phoenix. The fact and the majority can be wrong. Remember that what happened when Moses started to lead the children of Israel to the promised land, the majority wanted to return back to Egypt, but they were dead wrong and they perished in the wilderness. We can get ourselves into a real mess by following prevailing opinions and the most popular ideas when you don't listen to God's voice, and you'll always go in the right direction if you do that. He guides the humble in what is right and teaches them his way. I hope this, is anybody with me this morning? Just nod your head if anybody's with me this morning. I just want to make sure somebody's with me this morning, okay? See, you can't afford, and here I'm going to close in the shipwreck part here so you understand this. Write this down. You can't afford to be guided by circumstances alone. You can't afford to be guided by circumstances alone. When a gentle south wind began to blow, they thought they had obtained what they wanted. So they sailed along the shore of Crete. Before very long, a wind, a hurricane force, swept down from the island. The ship was caught by the storm. It's foolish to ignore what God says, even when your circumstances seem to contradict it. Things may look good to you right now, yet you could be sailing right into a storm. You say, the decision must be okay because I feel good about it. Do you remember the words of Debbie Boone's old hit song, "It Can't Be Wrong When It Feels So Right"? Feelings can lie. And if God says, wait in the harbor, you'd better do it, because the devil can arrange undesirable circumstances if you put out to sea the ship that was built for you to get to your destination. Notice the words. When a gentle south wind began to blow, they thought they had obtained what they wanted. That's sail. When it comes to the important decisions in your life, stand on this scripture here. Lead me, Lord, in your righteousness because of my enemies. Make straight your way before me. Guide me in your truth and teach me, for you are my God and Savior, and my hope is in you all day long. Teach me your way, Lord. Lead me in a straight path. Teach me to do your will, for you are my God, my captain. May your good spirit lead me on level ground. When you pray that way, God will guide you in the right direction. See, you got to understand that when I'm talking about charting your course and you're looking at different things to be able to do what you need to do, we right now, I run a 90-day sprint with a 120-day buffer. I'm gonna say that again so you understand how I run my life. I do it on a quarterly basis because you have winter, fall, spring, summer. You have 4 quarters. You're supposed to pay your quarterly taxes. Most people in business don't know how to do what is called a 90-day sprint because it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. So in charting your course, you can start it whenever you want. You don't say, oh, well, it's February, so I'm going to start it on April 1st. I'm going to ramp up. No. Oh, you know, I didn't start my diet on Monday, so I'm waiting until it's Friday. So I'm going to start it on Monday because I know I'm going to eat bad over the weekend, and I want to start on the beginning of the week. It's faulty thinking. The whole concept of understanding this is now, like right 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 now. Everything in your life needs to be right now. You know you need to go and pay some bills, go pay it right now. You need to go move something out of the garage before it rains, go do it right now. People are always waiting for whatever they're waiting for. And that waiting is a problem. So when you're looking at charting your success right now, what I'm telling you is understanding. I did a call this week with Mr. Aaron Burton. I also did one with Mr. Orrin Solomon. And it was amazing the cross-pollination of our teachings of what we were sharing. And one had asked Mr. Aaron Burton, well, how did you put 30 RDs in business in the last 90 days? He said, it was real simple. All I did was I followed the captain, the captain being the company being the founders. And he said, if you just, he said, if you take what Mr. Nelson teaches, which is how to promote, and you become the #1 promoter and let the system do the work for you. And you let the system that is built on dates that the company put in place, and you promote for their dates, and you put them together. It's funny how you have popcorn that comes out of the microwave. It's really amazing how if you just put it in there for 2.5 minutes, it didn't say 5 minutes. It didn't say 7 minutes. It said 2.5 minutes. And you just let it cool. Everybody eats popcorn. But if you let it go for a minute and a half, or then you only have kernels. If you let it go for 5 minutes, it's all burnt. He said, what's amazing about this business, as opposed to any other business, which I say all the time, and that is, we give you the directions. And it's almost like you rip it open and you do everything your way without even reading the directions. And the directions are 2.5 minutes. So if I'm going to chart my course for success, I'm going to learn how to promote. Now, next week, what I'll tap into, and I have time. Oh my God, I'm early. I'm just a little excited. I didn't know I was that early. Huh? So maybe I'll talk about it tonight. Is the ZCOC, which is really tapping into understanding 2 dates. Because the other date you've already missed, it's tomorrow. Now, if I were to ask you what's the most important date in the company, what would you say? I'm curious to know what Eugene would say. I'm curious to know what Kenny would say. I'm curious to know what Pat would say. If I asked Neha, if I asked Caroline, if I asked you, if I asked Don, if I asked Zoe, if I asked Marcia, if I asked any of you, what's the most important date? I said, Natalie, what's the most important date? And I'm pretty sure that most of you would not know. If I said, Sharkina, what's the most important date in the company? Every month. And there's only one. It's the 6th of the month. They actually have an ETL leadership the 6th of the month, every month. They got one tomorrow, but you wouldn't know that. Why? Because you aren't in the game. You're sitting on the shore. You're freaking in the stands. You're watching the game. You come to every freaking game, but you don't know that. Because if you knew that, number one, you'd be on every ETL call, and you would, two, every ETL call, you would have at least one brand new ETL on with you. You would be breaking an ETL. The least I could do is bring a new ETL every week. But it's not on your calendar because you aren't playing in the league. You're going on Google saying, when's the next Laker game? What time does it come on tonight? You aren't playing in the league because if you're in the league, you know when the games are. You know who the opponent is. You know who you're up against. You know who your hardest opponent is. You're studying their plays the week before. You know what's going on every week, every 4 weeks. It's like you're in your head already saying, I got 3 more people on there tomorrow. But if I were to ask you, what's the most important day every month? And then I said, okay, so when's the championship? When does the league, to qualify to play in the championship, right? When does that happen? And see, if I were to ask Michelle Tom, he said, of course, it's March 20th. We just had a call on it. It's the biggest game on the planet. We're about to do something freaking amazing that's never been done in network marketing history. And we have our own national convention. And let me tell you what we have set up. And let me tell you exactly how the box is. Let me tell you, I got 3 people that I'm setting up to have their own room because we're able to have our own virtual room. And even as an ETL, I can hit RD and I can call 2 RVPs and an SVP to come in and talk just to my people. They're already plotting as an ETL. If you're in the game on the court, they already know. They aren't like, oh, well, it's just on the 20th, but we're going on to this virtual. They're already thinking it has nothing to do with title. It has to do with the entrepreneurial mentality of owning the game. Whether it's my first day or I've been in for 3 years, it's like, hold it. So I can create my own room. I can have other people come in. I can get on the radar. I can make Greg Provenzano come to my room and tell him I'm going to have more people in my room than any RVP, maybe not an SVP, but any other one. So I'm going to have at least 200 people in that room, on March 20th. And I'm going to spend the next month and a half just to promote my room for an hour so the founder could come in. This is my opportunity to get on the radar and make the rest of the world converge to my success. But if you aren't charting your success, this is how I thought when I first signed up in the business, not when I hit SVP. I was SVP way before I signed up. It was a wrap before I got in. I don't get in a game that I'm not going to win. I don't sign up for a game that I'm not going to conquer. Whether it's in the gym, whether it's me getting close to God, whether it's making money, whether it's doing ACN, I don't sign up for a game I'm not going to figure out how to be at the top of the food chain. Period. So when you understand charting your success and who's on your radar, Then I need a plan. And the only plan I need to do is take on full ownership of how many Zcox Zoom conference calls can I have over coffee or a cocktail? How many Zoom calls can I have? How many conversations within a presentation can I have? I mean, because that's a beautiful thing. If you master this, I mean, if you think about it, I just had this with my team. I said, how long does it take to do a Zoom call? Well, if you incorporate the video, that's 11 minutes, then 15 minutes. So let's say you're the worst in the business. The worst in the business means that you do 4 a day. 4 a day times 5 people, that's 20 a day. 20 a day times, let's say 4 days, that's 80 a day, 80 a week. 80 a week times a month, that puts you at 160, 300 exposures. And I still gave you 3 days off. And if you did that for 1 month, it's impossible for you not to make money in this business. That's an hour a freaking day, 4 days a week with a follow-up 1 hour and making calls and text messages to get enough people on. Just to plug them into somebody else to do the work for you. And you're broke, you're supposed to be broke because you aren't doing the work. Since you aren't going to work for yourself, you might as well work for somebody else. Because this business is too simple. I didn't say easy. 1 month, an hour a day, 5 exposures, 15 minutes. That's 4 exposures a day, an hour's worth of work with follow-up on the alternative days of 3 days still gives you 80 exposures per week. See, the problem is you bring in Julian, you get excited. You brought in Sharon, you get excited. You bring in Corey, you get excited. You bring in one person and you get excited. That wasn't your job. You didn't get paid to get excited about somebody. You didn't get paid to get excited about Lance or Jordan or anybody else that's on your team. You know, Harlan, you aren't supposed to be any excited about Natasha. These are just, your job is to go and be the farmer of men and women and expose the business. Not get excited because you saw one leaf grow off of a stem, and because one stem, protruded out of the ground. Your job is to plant seeds and expose 20 seeds a day for a year. I'm only asking you to do it for a month to see your life change. Now, it should be a year. I mean, it takes 4 years. Many of you have gone to university, not everybody, but many of you went to university. That's 4 to 5 years. That was harder than going to work for an hour a day for a year to get rich. That's crazy to me. But because of our programming, we have no problem going and working a job instead of working our business and forcing ourselves in critical thinking. What am I not doing right here? When all I have to do is figure out how to expose. I mean, if I go here, let me go here. Let me see. I go here. Let me just check something real quick. I'm done early, so indulge me. I go. I don't even know how to use this Facebook, but what I was going to do is I was going to show, I know right now on my page, I have over 1,000 people. I'm sure, I have several pages, but I have over 1,000 people who are waiting for me to confirm them as a guest in my Facebook on just one page. And I know many of you have at least 20, 30, 40, 50 people to confirm on your page. Why would you go after people you already know? Why don't you go after somebody who wants to know you and say, you know what? I would love to confirm you as a guest. Before I do that, I want to know you. I like to know what you're up to. I like to know what you're about. I just want to know what you're up to. You already have people who are looking to be your friend. They're looking for you. Why are you looking for people when people are looking for you? If you got 50, 60, 70 people in your waiting box And even if you're a woman and 30 of them are looking for you for the wrong reasons, you can discard them quickly. But guess what? In this business, you only need 3 people to get to RD, 4 people to get off of a job, and 6 people to change your family tree. It's worth going through the people you know that are saying, confirm me as a guest. See, what you guys do, just confirm them, or they're just waiting in your wait box, whatever. Those are the people that you're looking for because they're already looking for you. They're saying, hey, I want to be your friend. Inbox them back. Why do you want to be my friend? What do you do? It's 2021. I scrutinize everybody that's in my life now. I don't do social media that often, but I love establishing powerful relationships with people that are up to something in life. Who are you? Let me tell you who I am and what I'm up to. You'd be amazed. You're going to come across 3 people that feel the same way as you do, that are up to something. Look, you know what? I just want people that want to change their life or their income bracket or their address in 2021. Do you fit any of those criteria for us to be friends? Because if you do, we need to be friends. It's just establishing a powerful relationship and conversation. You have to figure out how to become a mouthpiece or a talk piece or something that's going to generate. So here's the question. I'm having this conversation with you to help of what I have had with myself. What do you do that makes yourself stand out? What do you do to make yourself stand out? Like me, I went from timepieces, because when they get when you start buying watches that have a comma in it, which Mr. Al Thomas has a collection of, that's called a timepiece. They're very expensive. So I had a fetish of timepieces, and I was just like, this is too expensive. I can only wear one timepiece a day at a time. I don't need a whole lot of timepieces. Now, he will tell you I do love my glasses. See those? Those make me feel good. See those colors and all those? I do have an amazing collection of glasses. I'm not giving that up. I love my collection of glasses. But what I do is I buy things that fit my personality, that make me happy. And what makes me happiest most in my life right now is finding my inner child. I don't know if that makes sense to anybody. I'm really excited about the inner child I find in myself. When I find the inner child in myself, I don't need anybody else, if that makes any sense, because I'm just a happy kid playing with a sandbox in a swing. I don't give a freak about what anybody else thinks or says. When you can find that little thing, it doesn't matter if you're a shy child or a loud child, find the things that make you happy. So what I did is I started collecting hoodies when I started working out, as well as t-shirts with this. Now, I wore this yesterday. This is my favorite with Scooby-Doo. Now, I have them all. But whenever I stepped out, it's like the paint job on it. I have another one, Fat Albert, I wore the day before. And it's just all the characters on it. I got another one with Speed Racer I wore the day before that. And I wore another one with the really sexy skunk that went, hey, girl, what's your name? On my shirt to be for that. So I find all this stuff that makes me happy, that as a child I grew up. I bought one that had Tweety Bird, because I just love Tweety Bird, because he was a smart ass little bird. He just like stupid, right? And so, but what happens is when I went out yesterday, I got about 5 people that stopped me and was like, I love your sweatshirt. It made me stand out. I just wear some regular stuff. I'm not in a suit. My glasses, they become a talk piece. It's like, oh, I love your glasses. They make you stand out, but it fits my personality. Now you don't have to, I'm telling you, you need to look on the inside of things that make you, that you can exemplify, that you can magnify, that people take notice of you and make the world come to you instead of you constantly looking for the world. See, that's what I'm talking about as far as you playing small. Many of you are conservative. I'm very conservative. If you didn't meet me in this realm, in this world, in our ACN world, university and matrix world, you would not know that I'm really a shy person. I really don't like talking a lot. It would almost mentally mess you up. You're like, you lying. I really don't. If you meet my son, you meet the younger version of me. He doesn't talk. When I'm not doing business, I don't talk. My right hand, Miss Yancey, will tell you, I don't even like sounds. I don't even want to hear voices. It's just like, I like peace. I like serenity. There's an app, by the way, that's amazing to put you, if you haven't gotten it yet, it's called Calm, C-A-L-M. It's amazing. I listen to that most like 60% of the day. They got this one in there that's all inspiration of, you know, because I'm helping my son with his game and I'm creating another game myself. And so I heard the interview of the guy who created Pictionary. So it stimulates my mind as an entrepreneur within my ACM business, as well as how to apply. It shares with me exactly how LeBron gets into that state, which he took from Kobe, took from Michael Jordan, of being at that critical where all stress is hitting you and you just at a state and it's like, nothing phases me. When you're trying to get that SVP spot or that RVP spot, or you need to break a record or you need to re-gauge. See, you got to reprogram and re-download. What are you doing differently to truly re-engage yourself and give yourself what I call that attitudinal adjustment? What are you doing to truly, you have to stop. Some of you are busy being broke. I'm gonna say that again, you can write that down. Busy being broke. Mr. Al Thomas, take it over for 2 seconds.
I'm writing this down. 2 million.
Okay, attitude adjustment.
Broke.
Uh-huh.
Boy, Howard, I'm glad you said it, because I didn't say it. He said it, because I said too much. And they get so mad at me for saying it, but too busy. I'm putting that in parentheses by Mr. Byron Nelson. Okay, go ahead, sir. 2 million of you busy being.
And actually, that's all you guys need for today. I mean, you need to reset and you need to have you need to rechart your ship, and you need to take back your ship. You need to become the captain of your ship. And you need to have benchmarks. March 6th, how many ETLs are you going to have on that call? March 20th, will you finish out RD by March 20th? It's funny how people, when they first start, they're excited and they let it come from this excitement to they start understanding, and then they go to life, and then they go to, okay, I just got all these things. Now I need to reorganize. That's not how you win a championship. You win a championship by being excited, putting work behind it, seeing success, seeing results, seeing failures, and finally hitting the goalpost, and you go higher. Not you go into, okay, let me understand. Okay, now let me get life. Okay, let me put this thing in order. The excitement is the starting point of putting content behind it, failures behind it, success and results behind it, and hitting a benchmark. But whatever happens, habits you have is why you go down instead of you going up towards your goal and your destination, which is why 90% of the population never hits their destination. They never get to their destiny, because they're constantly, I don't know who fed you all the rest of the stuff, but you're in a new world here. So you should feed off of this world and get rid of the other worlds you were in. I don't understand it. I mean, you only need a few people as real examples. You have them right here on the call, and get rid of the rest. It'll allow you to empty out your closet that's filled with a whole bunch of garbage and congestion and stuff that you don't even use anymore, and stuff that is not applicable anymore. It's like, you need a new tool. You got to gut it out. So I am complete for the day. I'm done. I'm empty.
Wow.